Hi guys, I'm Becca Otis from Five Lines Pottery, and I'm located in Van.
And I'm Ryan Durbin from RD Ceramics, located in Highland Heights, Kentucky.
And welcome to Wheel Talk. Ooh, dun 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 dun.
Right on.
Right on, right on, right on.
All right, all right, all right.
What was the movie that we watched this last week? That was
Halloween?
Sister Act. No, no, it was The Mask. It was The Mask.
The Mask, yeah.
That had so many freaking good lines in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite line from that? I'm trying to remember the...
No, I can't remember any of them, but I just remember thinking like, wow, these are so good.
Yeah. We were looking at Jim Carrey movies or something on IMDb, and it was showing how many movies he had in like a single year. I think 94.
That's
I don't know if
insane.
it's just the release schedule, but it was like Ace Ventura, um, Dumb and Dumber, and The Mask. I think all in 1 year or something.
That is wild. And we were also talking about how he always has a dog.
Yeah, I didn't notice that until you said.
Yeah, I didn't really it didn't really click until the other night, but yeah, like Ace Ventura has a dog. The Mask, he has a dog. Dumb and Dumber, they like drive a dog truck.
But Larry, or not Larry, Harry has the dogs and stuff.
Yeah,
I don't know that Jim Carrey's around dogs much.
I don't
in the
know.
movie.
Yeah, but weren't there other movies too that he has
I don't.
a dog?
I'm trying to remember Liar Liar if there was a dog.
What? Jim Carrey movies have a dog.
The Number 23. That's more like a 2000s movie, but that one has a dog in it, I believe.
It does not say. My question was not answered correctly, but
You need to ask ChatGPT.
I know. I will not.
I think we spit out an answer in about 10 seconds.
Yeah. Truly, truly.
We didn't say it. We're live.
Oh, we're live. Just talking about Jim Carrey and The Mask. We also watched Halloween Town this week, and just straight up Halloween because Ryan has some situation with like Halloween movies. And
I fell asleep for half of Halloween Town, so.
I like Halloween Town, but just straight up Halloween, absolutely awesome.
It was your favorite?
I think that goes into my top worst movies of all time. It's literally like...
I think it's one of those that doesn't age well, but it's, I don't know.
I don't think it aged well in 1976.
You got to take it in context of when it came out, but you were not hearing any of it. You were just like, there's no way anybody thinks this was good.
I don't think anybody thinks it was good.
You were like, this must have got like a 2.0. I'm like, it got like a 7.7.
It has a 7.7 now.
What do you mean now? Everybody that's voted has voted way after it came out.
Yeah, I know.
So if it's shit now, you would think that it would drag the score down.
No, because they're like, oh, nostalgic and shit like that.
Yeah.
People think movies are great because they're old. Like, that's... Unless you're like you, who thinks that movies that are old are bad, which is dumb. But, like...
I don't think they're bad. They're just not of interest to me.
Which is hilarious, because one of your favorite Halloween movies is Halloween.
I didn't say that was one of my favorite. I'm just saying it was a movie that I wanted to watch. Like...
Hilarious. Yeah, me and Rachel were fucking bashing that movie right and left.
So hard.
It was so bad. I typically don't like horror movies anyway, but
why was it so bad?
well, the acting was awful.
The pacing, or
the acting was awful. The fucking storyline was trash. The like the cinematography was deplorable. I'm just trying to find more words that are
I'm just trying to add to the list so people can shit on you if they really like it. Because I want somebody to reach out to you and be like, "This was amazing in that time." You don't even understand.
I will say though, we did look it up, and it had a much lower. It had a much lower budget. So I think, what did you say it was like?
It was independent. I think it was like $300,000.
Yeah, $300,000, and I looked up the budget of like My Fair Lady. No, it wasn't My Fair Lady. I looked at the budget of Breakfast at Tiffany's, which came out like 10 years earlier, and that was $2.9 million. So, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I will give them that. They had a horrible budget.
Yeah, I think as soon as we said independent, you were like, oh, okay. Like 2.0 is like...
Independent movies are trash. So, but they're like supposed to be trash in like the best way possible. So, I thought that it was a high budget film. But it wasn't. It was just like...
What'd you think about the music? Was the music the best part of it?
What music? What? You mean the screeches every now and then?
No, it had like 4 songs that would, or I don't know if you'd call them songs.
I don't think anybody would call them songs. I guess
there were 4 scores that would just repeat the scores.
That?
Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously those movies back in the day, the dumbness of the situational awareness of the characters is always a very facepalm moment.
Yeah.
I think that's to be expected, but...
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. I was just thinking of like, I guess when I watched it, not knowing that it was like a low budget film, I was thinking of The Invasion of the Body Snatchers, which I did show you the trailer of, which came out in like 1960, I think, or 1950 something. And
did we look at what that budget was? Because there was a lot of shit going on in that movie.
Yeah, and it's like a really good fucking horror film. And 1956. It was 1956, and
oh, it wasn't? Oh, we were looking at the 1978 version. Are you talking about the 56 version?
Oh, we were looking at the 1978 version.
I was looking at the Donald Sutherland version.
Both of them are good. Both of them are good.
Oh, Body Snatchers, the 1956 is in black and white.
Yeah, and the old one was $416,000, which is still more.
This one got the same rating as Halloween did.
Well, it's better. I don't know what to tell you. The 1978 film had a $3.5 million budget, and the one in 56 had a $454,000 budget. So, yeah. I mean, like I said, horror films are not my cup of tea anyway. I typically think that the newer ones are... I don't like them either, so...
Alright, so just not a genre for you.
Not a genre for me. And it's not because it's like... I don't get scared, so it's not because of that. It's just the quality for me. So...
Okay. Well, I mean, there's movies that I've never watched and I never plan to watch that, you know... Like, I've never watched Breakfast at Tiffany's. I have no interest in watching Breakfast at Tiffany's.
And you would not find it interesting, I don't think. So, yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
So, yeah.
I mean, like, you're not a musical guy, even though you don't think that Disney movies are musicals, but that's fine. And...
Yeah. Those are like musical light for me. It's like, okay, yeah. I mean, I generally don't really watch Disney movies either.
Right.
So,
Yeah. So how? Oh, well, I was gonna say how are you, but we've been with each other for like almost the whole last week. So how are we?
Yeah. Last week, I was gone last week, but you were with Rachel.
You know what? That's fair.
Yeah. How was your week without me, with Rachel and Erica?
It was great. Let's see.
You got a Costco hot dog. I remember that. That was probably top of the list highlights. I would suspect, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. We had a Costco girls' night out, and and me and
Is that a
Rachel went
thing?
before and
Costco
got
girls'
like
night out.
tacos and some other stuff that you guys wanted at Costco. And then we ate hot dogs, churros, and ice cream and pizza from Costco and spent less than $20 for all three of us. Rachel's never gotten a hot dog at Costco before, which is a sin.
I've never had one either.
And you've never had one either. And I was like, yeah. And she looks up and she's like, $1.50 for a hot dog and a soda? What? And I was like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, and Erica like lives on Costco hot dogs. She would eat one every day of the week if she could.
If she could, she would. Yeah. And so yeah, we had a great time. Just met at the Costco. If anybody wants to take me on a date to Costco and just get hot dogs and a churro and ice cream for less than $6, I'm down. It's just the funniest fucking thing. And then let's see. Me and Rachel ate Chipotle and fucking ate tacos and we watched. I made her watch Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And
Aren't there multiple of those? I've never seen that.
no, and I made her watch it without you because I don't think you'll like it. So
Isn't that like a 2000s movie or something?
yeah.
Okay. I've never. Is it very sci-fi? Like
It's not. It is and isn't. So the thing about it is that there is no point to it. Essentially, it's like one of those.
oh gosh.
It's like stupid. It's like stupid. So the plot is that the world gets destroyed, and Arthur McMiniman or something,
2005.
his friend takes him away, and it's funny, but it's dumb. So.
Mere seconds before the Earth is to be demolished by an alien construction crew, journeyman Arthur Dent is swept off the planet by his friend, Ford Prefect, a researching penning a new edition of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yeah, so.
I was about to read Ford Prefect. Ford Prefect. Okay.
So, it's funny because, like, have you ever heard anybody say, like, the answer to the universe is 42?
Yeah.
That's where that comes from. It's that movie.
Oh. I thought that was a Star Trek thing or something.
Nope. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Okay.
But, yeah, so it's... I mean, I don't think it's Star Trek. It
6.7.
could be, but that's the one I know. So, yeah, it's good. And, yeah, we just kind of, like, chilled out, and I worked on stuff and did things and fired your kiln and flipped the breaker and threw some bowls and stuff like that. So
I just fired my old kiln.
yeah.
Yeah, last night it fired just fine. So
Oh, good. Maybe it was just a fluke.
no issues. Yeah. I don't know.
Did you fire it with
guessing,
the control panel on to the other kiln?
No, I didn't switch that out yet.
No, I mean like was it powered on?
Oh, I flipped it off.
Yeah. I would just do
Maybe.
that.
I don't know how much it pulls, but I mean, I never usually leave the kiln on unless I'm actively running it. So
Yeah. It's nice that those L&Ls have that little switchy thing that you can just turn the kiln off, you know.
I feel like most of them probably do if they have an electronic controller, right?
No, Scots don't.
No?
Mm-mm.
What?
Mm.
You just have to unplug it if you want it to go off?
Mhm.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Mine doesn't. I don't think my I don't think the that one that I have does.
Okay. I'm just like a conserving power because I'm like, why leave a screen on and going?
Right.
I mean, I'm sure it's not pulling much of anything, but why leave it going if
What's
I'm
the
not
brand that
using
I
it?
have that I can't remember right now?
Cone art?
Cone Art. That's it. That's the one.
You couldn't remember it?
Hey, okay. I'm still blaming all of this stuff on brain fog.
Okay.
I'm decided it's not my fault.
Brain fog.
I also think one of my teeth are falling out. But I did schedule a dentist appointment. You'll be happy to hear.
Mm-hmm.
So
When is that?
Friday.
Okay. Yeah, it's before you go anywhere, right?
Yeah.
Good luck.
I'm gonna need it.
I feel like you'll be like pleasantly surprised. I don't know.
No.
Maybe they'll be like, you know what? It's not as bad as you think it was, but you're probably going in thinking you got a bunch of cavities or something.
Ryan, I'm not even kidding you. When I went to the doctor the other day and she looked at my mouth and my teeth and I was like, I know I have some cavities in there. And she goes, yeah, I saw a few. A fucking doctor, like just a regular doctor.
Just the like putting the little thing down your tongue to like look in your throat, like say and she's
No,
like,
she was looking at my teeth to see if I had a tooth infection. But like,
they do that at the regular doctor?
no.
You're just like, you know what? While you're here, can
Well,
I ask
that's
you about
why.
my
Remember
mouth?
when I had like a throat thingy, like at Heidi's, I had like a throat situation. That's
Yeah.
because they think that I had a tooth infection, like an infection in my gums, and so she was looking in my mouth to see if she could see anything like visibly. So,
Okay.
yeah, I'll probably have dentures by next week.
You're like, you know what? We got to rip them all out. Sorry.
Yeah.
That'll be
Well-
an arm and a leg.
Well, Melissa's
please.
sister she's like an oral surgeon helper person. And she was like, just make sure you keep your back molars. And I was like, good to know. So,
Jeez. Okay.
how was your
Yeah,
week?
I was gone most of the week for a work conference in Raleigh, North Carolina, which was awesome. That's usually the only time I actually travel to see coworkers anymore. Back in the day, like, I've been doing this career in web development for like 10 years now. And back when I started, I was traveling on site for work like every other week, and then once a month, and then once a quarter, and once a year. So I'm kind of to once a year the last 2 or 3 years. So I don't really see coworkers that much. So it's nice to actually get to see each other. And then we've been going to this conference. It's called Pandemonium. So we get together with, there was about, I want to say like 12 of us from the company I work for Citrix that all attended the conference. So
Pandemonium isn't put on by Citrix.
No, it's just it's a third party product that we purchase and we have a contract for.
Okay.
So like, Citrix pays them like $500,000 for this contract.
Okay.
For this to use this product.
Yeah.
And we get a discounted rate for like tickets and stuff. So we all go as a group, and we get budget approval to go do it and attend and see each other. And it's kind of like, just to this point, because of like what we get out of the conference, because a lot of times our company and my coworkers have presented at the conference. I've even presented at the conference like 2 years ago or 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
One time, and we're kind of like, quote unquote, like power users of their products. So like, we're not getting a lot of value out of the conference talks.
Right.
So
You're
we're
going
kind of
there
there
for
to
the alcohol.
socialize a lot. The alcohol, the socializing.
Yeah. I shit
free
you not,
stuff.
guys. I'm not even kidding. I called Ryan. Well, I think Ryan called Rachel. No, Ryan called Erica.
I called Rachel and then I called Erica.
Yeah, so Ryan called Erica, and he'd already had a few drinks, and we knew.
I did not have a few
Yes,
drinks.
he
I
did.
had one drink.
He did. He'd already had one drink. And you know how I knew? Because I said, Ryan, I just want you to know that I didn't fill the bottom 6 inches of your kiln. And he was like, oh, that's okay. And then he just like continued to talk. And you were like completely fine with it.
Because I knew that you wouldn't be able to reach down in there. Like, I knew there was a reason why you didn't go that deep in there.
Sure, Ryan.
Plus, I didn't have anything of significance for you to load that was already glazed at mine.
That is true.
I think I had like 15 pieces or something. I was like, she's barely even going to fill this kiln.
I loaded that bis kiln full to the brim and didn't even get the big stuff in there.
Yeah. So that was great. And I was recovering. And then we got back. Man, I didn't have any break. Got back midday Friday. Went to... had to pack up the vehicle and go set up at the coffee festival. And then we went to Disney in concert, coffee festival all weekend. And then I took Monday off to recover. So I think that helped, though. I was feeling a little sick over the weekend, slightly. And then I think the rest and whatnot. I'm feeling back to normal today. So.
Yeah, I feel pretty good, too. I was feeling like off. Well, I wasn't feeling awful, but my throat was like, I had a cough and my throat was awful. And it's like...
I was feeling that a little bit waking up
it's
over
like
the weekend.
Totally back to almost normal. So...
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, coffee festival. Let's talk about that because we did that.
Yep.
Together.
That's the second year we've done it together, right?
Yeah.
Not 3. We only did 2 years. Okay. Yeah, so I was satisfied with it. We pretty much had the same booth. We just moved to the center aisle, so we pretty much set up the exact same way that we did last year.
Yep.
So nothing changed, and I sold $1,000 less, I think.
Yeah, we both sold $1,000 less
than we did last year. So, so I sold about 3,000. You sold 2,500.
Yeah.
Right.
I maybe sold a little bit more than 2,500 just because I had cash that I don't know for sure what that was, but.
Yeah. So it was overall pretty good. It's hard to compare year over year with like crowds and whatnot.
Yeah.
I think people are just more willing to spend money.
Last year.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I think that they were like really ready to get out of the house, and like it was the first like big event since COVID, like one of the big events since COVID, you know.
Yeah.
So, but I think the sales were up at least the first day of the tickets. So, but everybody was lovely. We had some repeat customers, and that was nice.
Yeah, I pretty much had all the same stuff as last year. You had probably 3/4 of the same stuff.
Yeah, I think that if I had the thumb cups, I would have done a lot better. But I didn't, so that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you specifically made those items last year for the show, I think.
No, I had like the thumb wine glasses last year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But you made the little guys for that show.
Yeah. Yeah.
The little kind of espresso cups. Which it was kind of cute. There was a lady that walked up that brought her cup with her on the second day. It was like a little espresso cup that she got from Becca last year that had the little thumb indent and was like, I just wanted to show you this. I got this from you last year and I get all my samples in it and, you know.
Yeah, it was very cute.
Because everybody's got the reusable cups and throwing them in the compost and piling them up.
Oh, we found out a fun fact about composting this weekend because so they're like the Ohio River Foundation is very, 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 very specific about, I guess, how they want to throw away things, which totally fine.
They're the ones who put on the event.
Yeah, they're the ones
Ohio
that
River Foundation
put on the event, and so every vendor was required to have compostable packaging and cups, and so basically nothing should have been like quote unquote thrown away in the trash, and so they like legit go into the back and like rifle through all of the bags of trash and like stack all the cups and stuff, and they end up taking all of the like the cups and stuff, the compostable stuff, and then taking it to a facility that makes it into dirt.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, we saw them last year. This year they made changes because last year if you walked back there, you saw people like digging through and it was gross and
It was awful.
sorting. I think they were still doing a little sorting, but I don't think they were. I think they were just stacking to take up less space because there's just so many cups, and yeah, it looked like a nightmare last year. So they basically had like trash monitors throughout the venue that were like making sure you throw them in the right trash or compost or recycling. You basically have to go through this person and ask them permission to throw something in the trash.
Yeah.
Is like how like strict they were this year just because of all the sorting that had to happen in the past. So
yeah, it was awful last year. So I have something funny to say just really quickly because this just happened. Me and Rachel were trying to find shows in like Palm Springs because Modernism Week is in February, and there's a big exhibition show. And I was like, I wonder if this would be a good fit or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I'm going to email instead of just like wasting my time and applying. And because it's like, who are your references? Do you have a storefront? Like, booths are 12 feet, like all these things. And so I asked, and the lady just emailed me back. And she was like, I'm not sure that your works would be a good fit for the show. They're really cool, but I don't think you would do well. I looked at your website. I'm not sure if there's something I'm missing. If so, please let me know what you plan to exhibit and sell, which I'm not going to.
Did they have photos from past years so you could see what kind of vendors they have?
No, but
okay.
I
would
it's
avoid
mostly
that
like
anyways.
furniture and stuff. And then she said, regarding prices, 12-foot space rents for $2,700.
Oh my God! Nope. Nope.
So that just happened. That answers that.
I mean, the thing is, if you're at a show with a bunch of furniture and shit, like, you might do okay. Because, I mean, once you fork out the money for the booth. But, like,
Yeah.
with people seeing, $1,200, $3,000 furniture.
$100
like,
cup is nothing.
You having cups and stuff is, yeah. You get a little piece of art for your house that's very affordable.
Right, but not $2,700 worth.
No.
Anyway, that was funny.
Well, at least you found out. At least you asked instead of applying, and then you find out, like, okay, this show's shit.
Right. I mean, like, I still kind of want to go to it just to see what it is. But, yeah. Yeah, so anyway, Coffee Festival's good. And that was pretty much it.
Yeah. I got my first... Making strides on the Mug Club. Got about 25 done.
Nice.
I got another... The kiln that I was just firing was a Mug Club kiln. So I've got, I think, all the way up to 36 of each. So then I'll be right at about 70 or so.
Okay, and you have 200 total.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm working my way.
Nice.
I'm a little worried about it, but I gotta, I got some good strides.
When is it due?
December 1st.
December 1st. All
I'm
right.
gonna be pushing it.
Well, if you need emergency help, I have November 25th free. So, like that whole week. So, just letting you know.
Yeah, so some of the question marks is still, I got some bisqueware that is stored that I'm like, so I did a couple tests in this kiln load to see, like, are these dimensions big enough to hold the 20 ounces? So maybe I have another 20 or so that are already bisqued that I can use. But other than that, I've got probably, 20 that are greenware that still need handles. And then I gotta, start the making cycle for the next batch of, 30 or so.
Yeah.
But,
hey, are you still doing the show on the weekend after Up on the Hill, the really cold show we did in November?
It's not up on the hill. You mean in the park?
Yeah.
In Blue Ash? No, I'm not doing that one.
Cool.
Too cold. I'm doing Queen City Clay I'm doing the Queen City Clay Holiday Bazaar that weekend. I told you about that one. Are you trying to see about a show?
I probably should do that one. Is it still open for submissions?
I sent you the link to it.
You did a while ago.
Yeah, just look up Queen City Clay in your text. You
Cool.
should do it if you can. I mean, it's $25 for the table, and they take 20%. So, like, it's indoor. It's easy.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I'm not actually. I don't have any shows in December actually. My last show is November 29th. It's the Fort Thomas Farmers Market. That's a holiday market.
Nice.
So I mainly did that so that I can get the soda kiln build happening, which is supposed to happen December 8th.
Yeah.
So I had some options for the December 3rd Sunday, but that's the day after the Durban holiday party, so I didn't really want to push that. And the Clay Alliance one is that day of the party, so I figured not to conflict with that. And also Mug Club stuff. So, I mean, we'll see if I can get the December 1st Mug Club deadline, but I mean, I'll be happy if I can get 100. If I can get 100 delivered and 150 delivered by December 1st, I'll be good. I feel like that'll be more than what they can sell anyways to this point, but I'm going to push to get all of them done. You know, we'll see.
Yeah.
So, do you have other shows coming up?
Yeah, I've got Bloomington Handmade next week.
You have one this weekend.
Oh yeah, I've one this weekend.
Louisville.
In Louisville. And then I have that's this month. And then I have Uptown Commons, which I don't know. I doubt that's going to be any good.
Is that near Indianapolis?
Yeah, it's near Indianapolis, and I can't even remember. Let's see. Originally, this is wild. This is absolutely wild. So there, I've been in shows with them, multiple shows with the people that run this thing, and they rejected me at first. So
the very first time you applied?
Yeah, I got rejected at first, and I messaged him and I was like, I'm curious why I got rejected, and she basically said that I got rejected because I have two mediums. So.
Because you have pots and you have jewelry.
Yes. So.
But did she understand that they're all made out of clay though?
Yeah, she understands that. And so she said that I guess there's too many ceramic artists. So she rejected.
You would think she would have.
So she rejected me, and then she said, if you want to, you can come with just jewelry. So I'm going with just jewelry, I guess.
Okay.
So.
But you said you've done other shows with them, so you got in under what, pottery?
No, like I've actually participated in shows with them. Like they were booths in the same place that I was. They've seen my booth set up. They've seen everything.
Okay.
And like, so, and like, you know, it was just weird. Like they were super, super nice, and they're super nice. And I was like, oh, this is going to be like a no-brainer, you know, like we both have high quality items, blah, blah, blah. And so then I got rejected and I was like, what?
So you got your way back in as long as you do jewelry only?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't want...
That kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Can you ask them like the weekend of or the week of and just be like, hey?
That's exactly what I'm going to do. Yeah. So, I mean, like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, I think they're even allowing vintage in this year. So,
yeah.
I
feel like that definitely changes the vibe.
Vintage definitely changes the vibe of a show 150%. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm not keeping my hopes up, but hopefully, and it's only the second year, too, of the show, so, like, you know, it's got room to grow. But hopefully Bloomington Handmaid's going to be good. So.
Yeah. Okay. You've done the Bloomington one before, haven't you?
Yeah, last year I made $4,000 at that.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you expecting like $3,000 or so?
Yeah.
Realistically?
I don't know. I feel like I could almost get the same amount at this one.
Okay.
I would like to pull the same.
I would say, can you set a reminder for yourself to send out something to your Square list about your shows coming up the rest of the year?
Oh, I could do that.
Maybe list them out, and I don't know if you want to give them an incentive with a coupon or just let them know. Maybe just tell them what shows you have the rest of the year to hopefully help you get some of those buyers back to those shows.
Well, and I do know that one of my other friends that does jewelry, she always says if you wear my jewelry to the show, you get 10% off.
Ooh,
and I love that. So I think I'll try to do that.
Do it, yeah.
Yeah, we'll see.
And if you need to tell them that you're going to be away from indie, like starting in the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
And won't be back until whenever. Like, I don't know that you need to go that far, but, you know, because you can always ship stuff, but.
Yeah.
Or offer something to, you know, buy online if they want or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, you got some ways to help that out for the end of the year. Sweet. All right. Do we want to go to the listener question?
I think we should.
Okay, so this one came from Earthen Goat on Instagram. Hello, love the podcast and have been listening since the beginning. Oh, just burped. This is the first question on the show. This is my first question on the show. So, I was vending at a show this past weekend and dealt with a very rude, disrespectful person who was unfortunately one of the other vendors. I had unpleasant customers before, but this was another level, especially since it was a vendor. Since then, I've been thinking about it and wish I had handled it differently. I was very passive, defensive, but wish I went on the offensive a bit more. So the question is, how do you deal with a toxic person at an event? Thank you.
Well.
Does it matter if it's a vendor versus a customer?
Hell yeah, it matters if it's a vendor versus a customer.
Okay.
Vendors, oh my gosh. Yeah, I like almost more like really.
I wonder if it's a vendor in the same medium or if it was somebody else.
Yeah, I like really just want to know what happened.
We did not ask this in advance of Earth and Goat to find out what actually happened, but
we did not ask, and I'm kind of regretting that. What would you do? I mean, you're nicer than I am.
Yeah, I'm very nice. I would probably dismiss it and just be like, okay, have a good day. Like, I would just rub it off, you know, roll off my shoulder because I don't know what time of day this was. I would assume this is in the morning because you're probably getting going. I try to narrow as many variables as possible that can potentially mess up my day.
Yeah.
Because I need to be, like, I heard somebody else mention, I think Lindsay said this on the Mud Peddlers at one time. She was saying, like, shows are like a performance. Like, you need to prep yourself and you need to do what you need so that you can perform at the top level, like, at your highest level. So if I had that interaction and I, like, say something shitty or I respond a certain way, like, I'm not going to overthink it if I just was defensive and just, like, let them kind of say something and just, like, was like, okay, have a good day. Like, basically fuck off. But not saying fuck off because I'm not confrontational like that. Like, I'm not going to overthink that. If I said something back and I was, like, kind of jabbing back in the moment, I feel like I would overthink that throughout the day,
Mm-hmm.
and it would stew in my head,
Yeah.
and it would affect me. But if I just let them kind of say what they want to say and just basically say fuck off, like, I'm not going to let them impact how my day is going to go.
Yeah.
That's how I would treat it. But, I mean, I don't know that there's a... If you come back at them, like, I don't know if that's more to make you feel better or if it's to put them in their place or make them realize, like, how badly they made you feel.
Well, it always and it always really depends on the circumstance. Like, you know, if it's something directly pointed at you, or if it's just something they did that was fucking awful, or what have you, you know.
Like, criticize your work or
Right.
your booth or something that's... yeah. If it's your work, it's like that shit's personal. That's like, hey, this is what I make, and this is why I make it, and you're poking and you're stabbing at something that, like, I'm really proud of, and it makes you feel small.
I was just thinking about Haven Tune In.
Mm-hmm.
She posted this video, so I'm gonna lay what she did. Because she did post it online. I wouldn't do this if she just told me, which she did before she posted it. But she was at a show and she actually won first place in the ceramics medium. At the show, you know where this is going. I kind of remember this. At the show, and this older gentleman came over to her booth and basically told her that she didn't deserve it and her pots were shit and blah, 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 blah. Like, was total dog shit to her. And she didn't say anything to him, but like the next day, she was walking by his booth and noticed that his wife was there, and she came up and she was like, "You know what? Are you his wife?" And she was like, "Yeah." And she goes, "I just want you to know that I would be embarrassed to be his wife today because he came up to me and he like, what did she say? She was like, he like belittled like a young woman and told her that, like, you know, all this stuff, and she like totally stood up for herself and then just walked away. And was just like, "You should be embarrassed," and then walked away. And I was like, "I love you so much."
And she probably said it with a smile too, like she... Right.
And Haven's got like this high voice that's just like super chipper all the time, so I can just even imagine the whole conversation going down. But I think that it depends on what you are, and I think it also depends on, like, if it's something where, like, an older man is preying on a younger woman, or a woman in general, you know? Like, if it's misogyny, that's one thing, and if it's, you know, if it's your work, that's another thing. But I think the best thing to do is kind of like get through it with as much grace as possible, and then if you feel so inclined, talk to the program, like the coordinator of the event, probably after the show, unless it's something so awful that they should be kicked out immediately. But you know, not to handle it yourself, because that could get you kicked out of a show, you know. And
what if it's, I believe Earth and Goat... Okay, never mind. It looks like it's a partner kind of relationship. Sam and Kevin. I think it's a male and female together partnership. I was gonna say, does it change at all if it was a male on the receiving end versus a female?
I mean, if they're offending, like if they're like belittling you in any way, I don't think it matters. But also there is like a certain power dynamic between like men and women too, that like men sometimes feel that they're more powerful than women, and in that situation, if you are the woman on the receiving end, that needs to be addressed with somebody that's, you know, like with a coordinator or something like that. That's if it is serious, you know. But also, what I was going to say is that I I'm an overthinker as well, and so if something happens at the beginning of a show, or if I'm just having a fucking shit ass day, like if I'm having like a shitty day and I feel down in the dumps and I don't want to do anything, I 155% text Val, and I text her, I say, I just need to fucking trauma dump on you right now, or just like complain to you right now, and I will text her everything that is making me mad in that moment. And then at the end of the text, I say, okay, that is all. I'm going to have a great day later. And I leave it at that. And I have it all written down and I release it out of my body, essentially. And it's gone, you know? And 10 out of 10, it works out. It works in my favor 10 out of 10 times. Like, I've never had it not work. So that's, I think that it's not as much of how you deal with the person. It's as much as it's more how you deal with yourself after.
Yeah, I think it does help to have somebody that you can at least share that experience with and say, like, tell them, like, kind of vent to them, but like share how you're feeling. Because if you're just there by yourself, it feels like it's gonna impact you and you're gonna keep kind of stewing on it.
Yeah, for sure.
And if there's not somebody that you can say something to, like I think it was at the Madison show. I don't even remember the circumstance, but there was something that I was just very short and like irritated in the morning. And I was like, I was showing it and like Rachel knew it. It was, I think it was during setup or something. And I was just getting like very short with people.
Yeah.
And I was irritated and I was like, Rachel, I'm just so irritated right now. Like and then I was just like working my way through it, and I'm like, I'm just gonna like focus on getting the thing set up, not, and it kind of work itself out.
Yeah.
But some people make little comments or whatever, and you take too much to it.
Yeah.
I don't even think it was directed at me. I think I was just being a little pissy that morning.
Right. And like any comment like, oh, do you make this yourself, could like set you off. You're like, yes, I fucking make this myself. Like, why do you have to ask me that? Like,
yeah.
Like any stupid comment that is just normal.
Yeah. And it could just be like over asking things or, just too many questions. I'm like, I just get short. I'm like, please don't ask me any questions. Like, just figure it out. I don't need to know every single thing. Like, don't ask me.
Yes.
And, like, I'm trying to focus on this thing that I'm trying to do. Like, don't ask me.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like where if you're in silence and you're doing something, it means that your ears are open to things. And I'm like, no, I'm focused on what I'm doing. Or, like, music's playing.
Yeah.
And I, like, got the music going in the booth. So, like, it helps me set up and focus and kind of zone in. And also, like, settle myself. And I don't want, like, outside stimulus and questions that are... Like, I get it. It's easy to just ask a question like, hey, do you want me to make you a sandwich for the show? And I'm like, no, I don't want anything. And, like, more questions. I'm like, I don't want any questions. Like, don't ask me any questions.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, that was one of the rare times that I kind of felt it and, like, I knew it. And I was, like, probably getting a little pissy with Rachel. But I guess I worked through it, and then I was like, okay, like we got through the morning, and then I was like, okay, I found my stride. And the thing is, I saw little pickups like when I got a sale. Like, it takes such a small thing. Not specifically from that, but I could be like in a lull, and I'm kind of like, meh.
Yeah.
And then I get this customer that comes up and they buy something, and then I just feel that little boost. Like, as soon as that Square transaction goes through and I'm rapping and it feels like an accomplishment. So
okay.
Like, ooh.
So let's hear we have talked about like different different situations, but they did ask a very, very specific question. How do you deal with a toxic person at an event? Like, Ryan, if I came up to you and I was like your pots are absolute shit. I cannot believe you're selling this. Like, oh my God, this has a crack in it. You are dog shit. Like, what would you tell me?
I don't know. I'd probably be like, thanks for the feedback. Have a good day.
Thanks for the feedback. Have a good day. One time,
I'm not going to come back. I am not confrontational. Like, I'm not going to come back with a smart ass comment or be like, you know what, fuck you. Like, I'm not going to say that.
I would like
Like, there's very rarely, and like, I don't even want to say that. I even feel iffy, like, saying cuss words in relation to other people that are, like, because I don't know if people are going to take it badly and stuff like, if I'm throwing in casual conversation, but I'm not going to be confrontational like that.
all I can tell you is things not to do, because like I've done so many things that have gotten people so fucking mad at me. Like, God.
I can see it. I mean,
I
yes, I can see you saying something. I don't know what you would say, but like you have the personality that like you could snap back at somebody.
Sometimes like I grew up with if it was a woman yelling at me, I don't think I could do it as well as if it was a man yelling at me. So like if it was a guy yelling at me, just because my mom yelled it like a lot when I was a kid. So like I have a very different response to like females yelling at me, I think, than males. Like older females at least, but one time this customer when I was at Sherwin-Williams was like, well, you know, Susie is going and buying paint from this like so and so, this like this other paint company and blah blah blah. And I looked at him and I was like, I don't care what Susie's doing. Like, she can do whatever the fuck she wants. And then he threatened to blow up my car. And
what?
Yeah, he called me in like a fucking rage and then came in the next day and threatened to blow up my car and like knew where I lived and all this shit. I ended up having to get him kicked out of the store. And then this one guy got mad at me for eating a string cheese in front of him because I didn't have a lunch break. And I was selling him paint, and it was like this yellow match or whatever, and he fucking yelled at me, and he was like, I can't believe you're doing this, like, you're such a bad customer service, blah, 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 blah. And I can't remember what I said, but I was like, you can leave. That's usually what I say. I'm like, you don't have to buy stuff from me, you can leave. Like, I don't fucking need your business, go over to fucking Home Depot. Like, you know, that's usually what I'd say, and then I went in the back and, like, cried. And
would you curse in those situations, or were you just say like
it depends.
You're very short and just say, you know what, you can leave.
Yeah, it depends. One time, me and my manager got in a really heated argument with a customer, and we were both so fucking mad. Both of us were cussing and like cussing this guy out, so fucking mad, and our rep had to take care of it. We were both so mad that he like had to come out and take care of the transaction because we couldn't handle it. And we were the only two people in the store. Wow. Times are great. Anyway, so don't tell anybody you don't care. Don't use the words I don't care. That's one thing. If you deal with a toxic person, the words I do not care should never come out of your mouth. Because that triggers something in people that you'll never understand. And
probably don't say what I say to Rachel all the time. Sounds like a personal problem to me.
Yeah, don't say that. Don't say that. I would refrain from using cuss words if you can. If I was to deal with an extremely toxic person nowadays, I would probably look them in the face and say, I need you to leave right now. And be very serious about it. And then if they didn't comply, I would call the coordinator of the show and say, I'm calling the coordinator right now and you need to leave. So that's what I would say. And be very don't be combative, just be calm and just say, like, if it's somebody buying your pieces and they say something that is offensive or something like that, you can take the piece away from them and say, this transaction is over. We're done. Like, and just cut it off right there. So, because remember, you're not in a store, you're in a tent. So, you know.
Yeah, they're coming into your space.
Yeah, they're coming into your space and you have control of that space, but I don't necessarily think offensive, like being on the offense, is the best
way to calm the
best
situation.
way to do
I
it.
feel like you need to go toward a calming of the situation.
Yeah, you have to be calm and you have to be assertive and you have to have a level head about it. And like, you know, and like I said, always have your coordinator's phone numbers, or how to, like, you know, or if your neighbor person is somebody who can help you, you know, reach out to them or something like that. But yeah, so
I don't know. It's so, like, I'm probably never, well, not never, but I'm probably not going to have this experience. Like, a lot of this
Yeah.
is probably a male-female thing, too.
yeah,
Like,
it could be, yeah, for sure.
I hate to say that, but...
Or a
it's,
female thing. Like, a lot of the times females aren't doing it to males. Yeah. I don't know. Is
Yeah.
Earth and Go to female? We don't even know.
Well, that's what I said. I think it's a partnership. I think it's a male-female
Oh, right. That's what you said.
partnership.
Yeah. And, I mean, like, if somebody is a hothead in the relationship, like, I'm not saying that's what happens or whatever, but, you really just have to, like, really calm your jets, because being mad about it will not fix anything. And, sometimes you have to back down, too, which really sucks, but sometimes you do.
What if it's like a weird interaction, or like a worrisome interaction, where you're like, I don't even know, like, the mental stability of the person in your booth. It's like, you don't really, like, they're just making you uncomfortable, and like, it seems like there's something questionable there.
Right, or like somebody's like coming in and asking a billion questions and won't leave, but it, like, you can tell that it's it's more of like a mental, like a mentally capable sort of thing, instead of like, I am really curious about this. It's more like, you know, maybe somebody that has some mental disabilities that you're not totally sure how to do. Like, I used to have a woman that used to come into my shop, and she was severely mentally handicapped, and she used to just walk into my shop and talk to me for hours. Like if she could, she would talk to me for hours. And I talked to another friend who owned a shop, and she's like, oh, yep, she comes in here too. And sometimes we just have to say, you know, I think it's time for you to go today. Like, the time's up, you know? Like, just really politely, or maybe like, you know, Rachel was talking about this later, is like, have somebody that's like, I need you to text me SOS, or I need you to call me now, you know? So they can call and be like, oh, can you excuse me for 1 second, and then turn around, but still keep your eye on them, and like step away from the situation, so that there's a distraction, so that it's not like awkward. But sometimes you have to be very upfront, you know?
Yeah, they might not take the cue, or the...
Right.
You know, the social cues, I guess, of just like, okay, my time is kind of up to leave this interaction.
Right. And yeah, exactly. So, yeah, that's like always really hard, you know? And it's especially hard when you're, like I said, when you're in like a booth where there's no door, you know? What are you gonna do?
Yeah. I mean, they came into your space, so you leaving your space.
Yeah,
to
and
get them to get them to get out of your space is like...
Oh, yeah. And then, like, you know, you can run after somebody, which I've done before, but, like, that's not super
You've
helpful.
ran after somebody?
Yeah, somebody broke 2 of my cups and didn't even say anything about it.
Oh, I think I remember this. You were like, hey!
Yeah.
Get back here!
You broke my stuff! I also, one time, had this lady call. We had an interaction the day before that was not great, because her brother was a painter or something. This was at Sherwin-Williams, and her brother was a painter, and she wanted to get a certain discount. And I was the assistant manager, so I had all right to not give her the discount, or to give her the discount. And she was not being honest with me. and I was being very short with her. And she called the next day, and I happened to look like one of my employees, and she was like, I just wanted to let you know that I had a really inappropriate interaction with one of your employees yesterday. And I was like, oh yeah, that was me.
Oh, you should have let her go on. You should be like, oh, okay, what happened?
Yeah, well, and she fucking backpedaled so quick. And I was like, yeah, that was me. And she was like, I was like, fuck you, bitch. Like, but that was one of those situations where I had to kind of like swallow my tongue and be like, yes, I'm sorry that happened, blah, 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 you know.
Yeah.
But just remember, the customer is not always right.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Because it being your business, like, your pride and your dignity have to be up there on your, like, the top of your list of what you're caring about.
Yeah.
You're going to remember those, swallowing your pride and not standing up for yourself, or like feeling like you're respected.
Yeah. I was going to tell you that saying the customer is right, that's not the full saying. The full saying is the customer is right in a matter of taste.
In a matter of taste.
So basically you can't, like, the customer's not right if they're being fucking rude to you, Like, there's boundaries to how far the customer can be
when
right.
you're saying taste, you're saying, like, everybody has their own taste. So, like,
no, in a matter of taste, like in a matter of classiness.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think that's how I interpret it.
I don't know. I just remember working retail. Kroger. Customer's always right.
Yeah. It says...
All right. Do you want to go...
Hold on. If a customer wanted a piece of clothing and it didn't suit them in a color or fit, Mr. Selfridge would be happy to sell it to him or her. Wait, smash.
That sounds like a taste thing. Like, they didn't like it. It was... they didn't have a taste for it.
I don't know. Well, I might be wrong, so that's not new.
I don't know. Do you want to ask your question about studs, or do you want to...
Oh, yeah, I do. Okay. So,
thanks for that question, Earth and Go, by the way.
What?
I said thanks for that question, Earth and Go.
Yeah,
Best
that was
of
really
luck.
thought-provoking. I hope that it helped. Anyway, okay, so here's my question. I make stud earrings, right?
Yep.
Studs. And there's two different backings to studs. Okay, the ones that I make an indent in my clay and then put the stud inside. So it would be like... I'm trying to figure out how to describe it. It would almost be...
It's a hole.
Yeah, it's a hole.
And you put
and the pin goes in the hole.
Pin.
And it,
yes.
yeah, and it gets glued into the hole, right? Okay. And then the other style of stud is what Deanna uses, and that is a flat back. That's a circle, right? And that gets glued to the back of whatever you're putting on the stud.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yes.
So, one of them is supposedly structurally has more integrity, and that's the one with the flat.
The flat back.
The flat back. Okay. Now, I've been using the ones that with the post, just the sticks, essentially, for a year now. And I haven't had that much of an issue. Mostly just the super glue issue that I had. And nobody come at me about using 2-part epoxy. I am not precise enough to use 2-part epoxy. Please don't. That's not even an option. Anyway, moving on. So Andrew, my friend from Washington, Andrew, was like, you should just use the ones with the flat backs. And the cost difference between the flat backs and the posts We'll just say that's the difference. The flatbacks and the posts. The posts are $4 for a pack of 100. And
Okay, so 4 cents a piece.
4 cents a piece. And the flatbacks are $1 a piece.
Oh my god.
I-
You'd have to charge more for your studs.
Well, and we were actually talking about charging less for the studs. Doing the
What?
studs at like $10 because if I figure out a way to do them really quickly, I can make a ton of money. Like we were talking about like how I'd sell many more studs if I sold them for $10.
How is the gluing process quicker?
Well, and that's what he was saying. Like, would it be quicker to glue? Let's assume that gluing the flatbacks is quicker than gluing in the posts.
It would have to be like 8 times faster.
Okay, that's my...
Mathematically.
Yeah, mathematically. But
I don't know if that's the exact math, but it would have to be way faster. 4 cents versus $1.
Yeah.
Do people have like the customer's not going to notice the difference, right? Or
No.
is there are they a little askew with the pins because you have
Sometimes.
to put them in perfect or what?
Sometimes, but most of the time it doesn't matter.
Okay, what percentage of your sales are studs?
Well, this last...
Like, is it making up a big enough percentage that it warrants you to pay $1 each for the back?
Right. I mean, like, if it's like so much faster, let's say it's like so much faster, does it...
How much faster? I mean, how much faster can it actually get?
Well, I don't have to put any holes in the studs.
Okay.
Like, that takes time.
Mm-hmm.
And...
How do you do the studs? Do you just squeeze out a little ball of clay and flatten it?
Basically, but it's a little bit more calculated than that, but essentially, yes.
Okay.
So, like, for
You still tumble them?
October, I've sold $1,290 in earrings and $486 in posts.
Posts? You mean
Yeah.
studs?
So I've sold 27 studs and 43 earrings.
27 out of 43? Oh, 27 and then 43 of non-studs.
Right. So that's 70 altogether.
That's a good chunk. That's about a third of them, right?
It's almost half. Yeah. Well, yeah, a third. Sorry. Yeah.
Like quantity-wise.
Yeah. 3/7 to be exact.
Jesus Christ. Okay. Oh, man.
Like, does it matter that high cost, like that $1? Like, let's say you're putting in $2.
Is it gonna make you enjoy making them more? Maybe that's a good way to go with it. Are you gonna like making them more with a flat back where you're not gonna care as much about the cost of the flat back?
I don't know. I feel like I've never made them with the flatbacks, and I feel like I would enjoy it more only because it might be more...
Why don't you buy 20 from Deanna and see how it is?
Yeah, it might be more durable.
I mean, to me, it seems like it would just be more consistent with your... Like, it looks a little more professional because it'll be perfectly perpendicular to your
Right.
to your earring. So I think it might look more professional, but if it's more professional and it looks better, like, why would you charge way less?
Right.
I get you want to sell quantity,
if it's more
but...
professional, I could keep it at $18.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
do people see the backings? Do people actually take them out and look at the backs?
No.
So you're really just talking about changing your process a little bit of
Just a little bit, yeah.
of gluing them because the customer doesn't know the difference.
Essentially, Andrew was like, why don't you just take little chunks and just toss them into the rock tumbler? Like, just, like, cut out really quickly and then throw them into the rock tumbler and let the rock tumbler do the work. And then you've, like, cut out most of your process, you know?
I thought you rock tumbled them anyways. You don't?
Not the studs, but I don't really need to.
Yeah, because they're going to get glossy, and there's not
Yeah.
really much surface area that's, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, so the main question was, do you switch to the backings?
I guess my main question to you was, if it was a faster process but a little bit more expensive, would you change?
Faster process, more expensive. Are you keeping the same price?
Yeah, let's say I kept the same price.
Faster process, more expensive. Yes. I would make the change, depending on how much faster it makes me.
Okay.
Like, let's say you can produce, I don't know, 15% more.
Yeah.
Like, that seems reasonable to
And
make it
if
worth
it
the
made
money.
them stronger.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that plays a factor. But you would still be using the same super... Well, all future pieces are not using that super glue issue. So, like, any future studs, you're not going to have the same glue issue
Right.
that you've had in the past, right? Because you understand why it was faulty.
Yeah, I think tomorrow I'm actually going to take them all apart and put them in acetone. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, from a business standpoint, I don't feel bad about spending a little bit of money to save me some time. So, like, even if it's small like that, I think it would make sense
Yeah.
to do it. I mean, it seems like a big jump cost-wise, dollar to four. But also, they're probably way easier to work with, I would guess, if they've got the backing on them. Because you could just stand them all up on the table with the backing, and you could probably just, like, get all your glue out, take it back, like, stamp, 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 stamp.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to be as precise, so...
Yeah. You just have to make sure the backings are small enough, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they don't, like... Hopefully they don't get too, like, bulky or something. I mean,
Yeah, I also kind of wonder if it is more durable. You know?
why are they more? Is it just because it includes... Is it just more material?
Yeah.
Is that why it's more? Okay.
It's a lot
so it's
more
not...
of a process to make them.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, do the ones that you use that are just pins, do they look cheap or do they look
They look fine.
subpar compared to what Deanna has?
They're both titanium. They look fine. We just do them differently. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm like,
Is there a way to improve the actual making of the form?
well, soon I will be changing to. Soon I'm going to be changing to only one size of stud, so I can redesign it just a little bit. So.
I wish there was something like, you know how they have those little things that like spin, like, I don't know if I'm thinking of like a pasta thing. I'm thinking where they get those like wheels that like spin, and I feel like you could throw, like, if you could throw clay in there and they would like cut it or something, and it would just roll out a bunch of balls for you. Like, is there something that does that?
I don't know.
I don't know what it would be, but I'm thinking of something that would like roll out consistent balls, and it would just like spit out a bunch of peas for you. And then all you gotta do is just stick your thumb on it and flatten it, or like use a thing to flatten it. Like, I don't...
Yeah, I mean, it's really not that hard to make studs. I quite enjoy it. So.
Okay.
It's not that hard. You
use the little plunger
Yep.
thing?
Yep, and then I cut them with like one of those vegetable cutters that has the grid. So they're all the same size, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's not hard. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the good thing is you probably don't need to spend that much time making them. I mean, you could probably make hundreds of them pretty quickly.
Yeah. I mean, I made 1,400 in a weekend, so.
Oh my god, that many?
Yeah, that's how many got fucked up with the glue.
Oh my gosh.
I can't remember if it was 1,400 or 700. 700 was one of the numbers, but I think that might have been how many pairs it was.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
I cannot see you selling them for $10 a pair. Like, just thinking of all I get it, you're making so many quickly, but like just the minuscule amount of work you have to do on each one.
I know. I tried to put the posts in the clay and fire it in the kiln, and they just become super brittle. And I was like, damn it, that would have been so much easier.
Yeah, I mean, you ultimately just can't get away from all the little bitty, like, you have to get, you know, you have to work with them individually. Like, I don't know how you could systematize that to where you're working on like 5 at a time, or like,
right.
You know,
I mean, I've got it down to a pretty fucking good system, but yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Let's talk about our actual.
Well, do we have to talk about some L&L stuff before that?
Yeah. Well,
I got my new
this
kiln
kind
hooked
of
up.
like leads into our topic anyway.
It does.
Yeah. Ryan.
Becca.
How is the new kiln going? Have you fired it fully to the temp?
I have fired it to bisque. I have not fired it since you fired it. I did set up the bisque program, which took a little learning, but oh my gosh, they gave me, I don't know if everybody gets this, but they gave me a freaking binder of like the manual. This thing was like so in depth of everything, and then they like tabbed it out with like troubleshooting and Genesis controller and kiln log.
Holy cow.
Like maintenance, like, you know, element replacement. So and they had like a parts list and all this stuff. It's pretty good.
That's amazing.
So
I hope everybody gets that.
So I went through there with the, you know, how to set up the program for my bisque, because it's got 6 segments, so quite a few segments, and they've got the built-in ones for the, you know, the bisque and the slow and the medium, fast, all that stuff for different firing. So,
but you have the Genesis controller, right? So you can just put it
yes.
in and then it saves it, and it's the same every single time. And all you have to do when you have the Genesis controller is that you basically just have to change the hold time, but you can see where it is in the program, so you don't have to, like, you know, on the older Dynatrol. That just reminds me of cars every single time that I say that. Anyway, in the older Dynatrol things, they you have to like go through the entire program. Not on the Genesis one. That one's like so nice.
It's got it at a glance, so you can see all of it. You can scroll up and down, and you can name it if you want. So like mine's in user segment 1, I think, and I just have it named as bisque. Yeah. Usually I do user 1 is bisque, user 2 is glaze for the second firing, user 3 is decal. So that's probably how I'll organize it, and I'll name it appropriately. And then, yeah, like you said, you can see the whole thing, and you can tap into, you know, segment 2 or segment 1 hold. I want to change from an hour at 185 to 4 hours at 185. And you could just change it right there on the fly.
Yeah.
And then review all of it at once. You don't have to tap through all the buttons and make sure you got all the things. Sometimes on my old one, I do click through to the end, because you get to that last segment and you say, okay, and then you get to idle, and then I'm like, if I hit on now, is it going to like work with what I just clicked through, or is it going to like do something weird? I don't know. So at least there I know I click, you know, start or whatever, and it shows me the program that's actively running, and it gives me like an estimated time and a graph and stuff like that. So yeah, it's pretty sweet.
You know, other kiln companies that will not be mentioned that have their own like fancy controller. If you break the glass of those controllers, they're broken forever. You can't use them at all. So if you have to take off the box to, you know, get to your thermocouples or anything like that, and accidentally cracks, you have to buy an entirely new controller. I don't know if that's how the Genesis is, but what I can tell you is that because it's a square box, it's a lot harder to break. So because
it doesn't protrude off.
Yeah, because it doesn't protrude off, it's a lot harder to break, which is really nice. But yeah, it looked really great, and I didn't actually get to look inside the kiln because it was full of bisque and I didn't want to unload it. But
Oh, so Erica unloaded it?
yeah.
Or Rachel did? I think Rachel did because she was showing off the unloading, and I
No,
think
that
she
was
was
your old kiln. That was your old
Oh.
kiln.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I had a lot of bisque that last couple weeks,
Yeah.
so.
But yeah, it looks really nice. Do you know what's something else that I noticed about the L&Ls that I really enjoyed? Which is like, I think the things that we're talking about are like the small things, but I do think that it really matters. Just the stupid small things is their peephole plugs are so nice. Like they're straight and they just fit right in, and I feel like every other peephole plug I've had has like broken or it like maybe falls out all the time.
Typically they're tapered and they're angled, so they kind of squeeze into whatever
Yeah, they're not like
size like peephole there is, so it fits snug, but it could pop out. Like I've dropped.
right, it's not tailored to the kiln, and the L&L peephole plugs are tailored to the kiln. So they fit nicely, they go all the way in. They are like 3 inches long, so they go the entire
Through the whole brick, yeah.
brick of the kiln, which I think is really amazing. So it's like, you know, you think about those little things, and when you think about these kiln companies, really there is no kiln company that's not a small business. So like Scott, L&L, fucking Cone Art, freaking the other
Olympic.
one, Olympic, they're all small businesses, and every single one of these kilns, regardless of who you buy them from, is handmade. You know, it's not made by a machine. Like, people are actually hand making them, and the fact that L&L takes the time and the effort to like hand make these items that fit so snugly and are to such detail is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a well-crafted piece of machinery.
Smash, smash, smash. Well, Ryan, where can you find that well-crafted piece of machinery?
Hotkilns.com.
Hotkilns.com.
I wonder if people will come up to them in Sika and just be like, Hotkilns.com.
I'll tell you what, we should, next year at Nsika, we should have all of our listeners. I'm already saying this now. Next year at Nsika, if you go up to Dimitri and just say, hotkills.com, we'll give you a free sticker. We'll give you I should make a sticker of us like posing in front of
Oh my gosh,
a,
you need one that just says the words hotkilns.com, like spelled out.
like, but like hot,
Or they
like,
need to make a graphic that just says hotkilns.com. Yeah.
it's true, with little music notes under it.
Yes.
I know. I'll make a sticker for us that says hotkilns.com with my mouth like singing it out of the mouth.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
That would be great.
Oh, I love this already.
Love it.
Watch, they like drop us as a sponsorship, and then everybody at Nsika is still singing it to them. You're
welcome.
stuck with us forever, L&L.
All right, minute 22, or hour 22, 23. What are we talking about?
Wow. We're killing it.
I'm sorry. I feel bad. An hour and a half. Oh. Sephora messaged me the other day. She was like, I got to your burnout episode an hour and 10 minutes in. You got to the topic. It was a little jab, but I was like, ooh.
I know. And Len is like, ooh, rough. Okay. How to build partnerships with companies like Speedball, Rolo, L&L, I don't know, Diamond Core Tools. How to find them, how to approach them, what is expected of you, the artist.
Yeah, that's just some notes I wrote. So I came up with this topic because I feel like I've made good partnerships with a number of companies.
Yeah.
A lot of it is really just doing some cold calling, in a way, quote unquote. And okay, so how to find them? How to find them?
Well,
What?
I think, I mean, like how to find them. A lot of the things that we find are the things that we use, and I think that you've said that from the very beginning. Like when you started using the speedball bats, and then you would just tag them every single time, you know?
Yeah.
And like most of the people listening to this podcast are not planning on being influencers.
Mm-hmm.
I would hope and imagine. And so if you're not going to be an influencer, you really need to be like using the things that you're advertising or sponsoring or being sponsored by. I feel like, I don't know if you agree with that or not.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the basic level, start with what you already do, and that's gonna make the most sense. Like, you're not gonna. I'm not looking to partner with Stamps.com. Like, there's enough people partnering with Stamps.com. Whatever. I mean, maybe if you're doing the labels, like maybe, but we're not going for podcast sponsors where we're trying to get
Yeah.
whatever the sponsor is, ABC, that has nothing to do with pottery, and I have no expertise with this product.
Unless
Maybe
it's
you use
alcoholic,
it,
like
maybe
Bev.
you don't. Like Bev. Drink Bev.
Yeah. Anyway, continue.
And yeah, sticking with stuff that you're already like, why would people care that you use this thing?
Yeah.
What value do you have to the company that like you partnering with them or having something to say about them, or like why would they care that you like their product or
Right.
want to talk about their product?
That reminds me of the book How to Win Friends and Influence People, which is one of our faves. And and there's a part in it that's basically like how to get a job, essentially, and like going into a potential employer and being like, this is how I can benefit you.
Yeah.
This is not, hey, I love your stuff and I would really love to have it, blah blah blah. It's not like, hey, I have a huge following that is primarily ceramics artists, and I really think that me showing them your product would increase your sales. Like, that's, I mean, I don't necessarily know if that's exactly what I would say, but like in that matter of speaking,
Yeah. I was so as we were talking, I was searching through the initial contact I made to Rolo when I was reaching out to them.
Oh yeah, and you got that. We have to thank Andrew for that, because Andrew was the reason you reached out to Rolo.
He told me that hey, I don't know what he said, but he was basically saying like, hey, they've given me a printer before, so like,
yeah,
you can do that.
Them.
So like, it doesn't even have to be a company that you're already using, or like you have an interest. Like, you can have interest in using it and trying it out and seeing how it is, and just kind of going from there. Like, I don't think you have to. You also don't have to do what other people are already doing too. Like, if you see that people are already associated with certain companies, like, you don't have to just use them as your starting point,
Yeah.
There are definitely companies that are more open to it than others. Doesn't mean that some companies that aren't as used to having, I would say, like social media content marketing, like influencer people, or just like potters, using their stuff in marketing for them. It doesn't mean that they won't come around to it and try it out. But like, maybe don't start with them, especially if you're trying to get in contact with certain companies, or with somebody. Like, start with somebody that is already within the products you use, of course. Like, I wasn't I'm trying to remember the speed. I want to say my first one was probably Speedball.
Yeah.
I feel like I started getting in contact with them in like 2018, maybe.
And then Diamond Core.
Diamond Core, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I think 2018. So I want to say, because some of the stuff like you overlook, like I don't know the wheel that you're using, the clay that you're using, like it can go that simple. What clay do you use?
No, I feel like the first one that you got in contact with was Dirty Girls.
They've never given me anything though.
That's true. You just did stuff for them and didn't see.
I've bought from them.
Yeah.
I bought from them and I tagged them and stuff. So like they've probably reshared my stuff, but
well, and you threw for them at Enciko, yeah.
Yeah. I think that was just because we knew them, because I knew Leah from the shows that I sold at, because she was another potter and we met each other, chatted a little bit, and then you go into the retail and buy, and I see her there and we communicate, we talk on Instagram, and
right,
I think we swapped pots or something. So a lot of it is just connections. Like you're just making connections here and there. Like you're widening that web of connections. And I think you need to do it in a way where you're doing it in a way that you're giving more than you're taking. Like,
for sure.
I think you always need to be doing that on social media. You always need to be giving more than you're taking, because otherwise, it's not going to equal out. Like you're always going to be the person that's asking for something.
Yeah.
And, if you're not willing to give information or give, I don't know, positive responses or comments or whatever, then like, how do you expect it to come back towards you? So,
yeah.
I mean, there can be places or companies or whatever that reach out to you and like they see you as having value.
Mm-hmm.
And whether that's just the number on your follower count or it's seeing the things that you make and they think that like it would vibe with what they do already, or they're a startup or they're a growing business and they're looking for people that like would work well with them, and they're kind of seeking you out for what value you already have.
Yeah.
That they can leverage, but like I think you need to be open to like make those connections, and I say do it like bit by bit. It's like breadcrumbs. You're setting out little breadcrumbs along the way with all this relationship. Just like any relationship. Like you don't expect to just go all out, the first contact cold calling somebody. You gotta nurture it. So like I think the speedball one, all I was doing early on was just tagging them and using their bats. So I think I would just tag the hell out of them every time I was, I was throwing production a lot, so I was throwing a ton, using their bats, and I was tagging them in all my stories using their bats. So like you're getting in their feed constantly. Not like them sharing, but like I'm getting in their messages. They see me, they see my account, they see that I'm tagging them. I'm always telling people what bats I'm using, and if I do a story or a post or something and I show the bats, or I show throwing on the wheel a process video or something, I'm tagging the products that I'm using.
Yeah.
For one, that's like, in a way, I am doing it because I want them to potentially share it, but also I'm doing it because people always ask, what kind of clay do you use? What kind of what are those plastic things? Like who? So,
right.
Like to this point, people could probably tell you what products I use without even asking, because I tag them so much. But I think it's like, yeah, I don't know. I just always want to do that because I like their products, so I'm going to tag them. I didn't know early on that like when I was tagging them, they were going to reach out to me.
Right.
And it was just going to start from there. So I think it started with, they reached out and they were like, hey, do you want to do an Instagram takeover? Which back in the day, you'd log in and you'd actually like be in their account for like a week straight or whatever. And they were like, do whatever you want to do. You're gonna like feature the bats, and you'll be on there for a week or 3 days or whatever, and you choose how you want to structure what you're gonna do. Maybe you do a live video throwing, showing the bats, talk about the bats, but like, there's no like hard and fast.
Right.
Here's what you have to do. It was just a partnership of, hey, this is what we'd like. Would you be willing to do this?
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of just a way to like cross-pollinate audiences.
Yeah.
And I don't think I didn't get any payment for that. I got free bats for it. I think they were like, let me know what kind of bats you want and we'll send you whatever you want.
Yeah.
So they gave me a list of like, here, pick and choose what you want.
Yeah.
So I that's kind of how it started. And it kind of evolved from there. Did you have any early on, like, ones that you found or got in contact with or saw a little inkling of a relationship forming more so than just through social and just like they happened to share something? Or
well, Bev like reached out to me because I was like a woman-owned business, and that was when I got big on TikTok. So it wasn't like an Instagram thing. And I think they ended up following me or something like that. I don't know. But I've gotten most of my stuff from you. I mean, I'm not sponsored by Rollo. In fact, I was going to tell you that I just ordered a label printer yesterday. Non-Rollo.
Figured.
Yeah, it was like $80. I'm not going to spend like $200 on a Rollo printer. I talked to Sarah.
Is it wireless?
Yeah, it's Bluetooth. Yeah.
That's good.
I talked to Sarah, and she was like, yeah, I reached out to Rollo, and they said that I'd have to buy a printer, and then they would sponsor me. I was like, oh, changing up the game.
She would have to?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, okay. I got in on the ground floor, I guess.
Yeah, you did. And anyway, like, you know, especially with, I've guessed the biggest sponsor that I have is Speedball. And especially with them, I mean, it was all you. It was like, I went to see you at NCECA and ended up talking to Kelly and Megan, and like, and then, but also on top of that, we saw Dell at ClayCon West, and me and Dell really hit it off. And Dell,
that was before. Yeah, that was January, right before.
And I was like, I don't know, man. I like don't want to use Speedball because I don't want to change what I'm doing. And he was like, why don't you just try it? And I was like, I don't know, man. And and then Kelly was like, we'd love to send you some stuff. And I think it's because I like really played hard to get. Like, I played fucking hard to get on that end.
I think it was because you were so stubborn, and then you met him in person, and you were like, okay, like,
fine.
Why am I fighting this so hard?
Yeah, like, fine. Yeah, because
like, how much better can the products really be that you're not going to go with the people that actually, like,
are personable and
you.
Like, nice. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then, like, and then they sent me, like, the small bottles, and I was having fucking issues. Like, when I got them, I was like, first of all, why are they putting them in these tiny-ass bottles? And you can't even get them out because they're a fucking concentrate. And, like... and so I'm just, like, bitching at Dell about it. And then we ended up talking for, like, 2 days. And, you know, like, just talking about how the product works and how it's, like, you know, how to think of it and stuff like that. And it's different. Every product is different. So you have to... Like, I would bitch about any new product. Like, I used, oh my god, I used Amico underglazes.
Those tool reviews for a bit, I feel like.
Huh?
The tool reviews, I remember those back in the day. Those were pretty good.
Yeah. I used Amico underglazes while I was at the out in Westview with Melissa and Eric Beal, and I was like, these are fucking awful, they're so thin. Like, they were so thin that I could barely paint them on. And I was like, oh my god, look at me, like, I think that if I don't even know what I don't know, I just don't know. Like you use like different things and your mind just fucking moves. It just moves away from all the things that you thought you knew. But yeah, and it was just like a series of conversations. Like a series of conversations talking. And
Did most of those happen through DMs of Instagram, or was it
no.
through seeing them in person? Do you have to see them in person?
Most of the ones with Dell were talking to him on Instagram, like FaceTime. And
on his own Instagram, right?
Yeah, and like just chatting with him. And then like the next day I get a message and it's like, hey, how many wheels do you have?
And that was before he was in charge of Speedball Ceramics?
No, I think he'd just gotten hired.
He just started, yeah.
Yeah, and that's when they decided that they wanted to give me a wheel. And like, let's be honest, I didn't need a wheel. Like,
you already had a small portable wheel.
I had a portable wheel, and yes, it was subpar because it was Shimpo, but I'd had it for years, and I was like, I don't need one, but I would love one. I've always wanted the Aspire instead of the Aspire.
You wanted the
Artista instead of the Aspire. They had to like make them with the same letter at the beginning. And they were like, okay. And they just sent me all the things. And I have like, holy shit. Just like, holy shit. And like this last time and then I reached out to them and was like, hey, I know this is probably unlikely, but if you guys have any paid gigs that you need potters for, I am more than happy to do it. If you want somebody to go around and like drive around and be a traveling salesman for you.
You want a road show?
I will do it.
A little speedball road show?
Yeah, and I was like super vulnerable. I was just like, I love you guys and I want to work for you, essentially. And that's when I got the live demos. And
those were paid.
And let me tell you that I'm just like bragging on Speedball right now, but let me tell you that I told them a price and they went $60 above my price for each demo. Yeah. They paid me more than what I asked for. And I mean, like, that's
I think
a good
they paid me more
company.
than what I asked for when I demoed at Ensika.
Yeah, and that's a good fucking company right there. Like, that's an amazing company. So, but I think we've been very, like, spoiled with Speedball and how good they are.
Yeah, I've been living it way longer than you, buddy.
I know. Yeah, they sent me 2 of each color of those fucking underglazes, and Dell was like, they used to do that to me all the time.
Got a couple boxes back here with their name on it.
Yeah. But, like, I think it was all about connections, It was like, if I hadn't known you, then I would have never connected with Speedball, I don't think.
And I think just you can also reach out to others that have some kind of connections with these companies. And it doesn't have to be like, hey, I want to get with that company, but it could just be for information purposes of how did you get in contact with them? Like, how did it start? How,
do you have a contact for them? Like, reaching out directly is so much more professional than reaching out via Instagram.
Actually, I had one more that I didn't put on there. It's completely separate. And yeah, I think I'm always going to recommend the slow trickle, the tagging them whenever you're using their products. It doesn't have to be spammy like you're doing it in a way that's like, now I do it so subtle that I tag them in a story, but I make it on like the translucent one, so it's like super subtle. So it tags them, but it doesn't put it off the screen, so it's like, L&L is going to get the notification, but when somebody looks at the story, they can't even tell that L&L is tagged because it's not visible on the screen, It's still within visibility, so people can tap on it if they want. I don't really know how many people are actually tapping on those. But it's just, it's just a reciprocal thing. Like, they take care of me, so I'm going to take care of them. I'm going to tag them in the stuff that I'm using. And I'll also be honest with them if like there's something that I'm having issues with, like Becca's talking about with, the products that if they're lacking a little bit or there's something she's not understanding, like you can reach out and they can work with you to figure
Yeah.
out, we're essentially the R&D for them. Like really they can't really do the load testing and like the intensive
Yeah.
like product testing that an actual working artist can do with those
Mhm.
products. So, especially if you're talking about like different clay bodies, you're talking different like moisture levels when you're applying them. How are you applying them? Like, no, not many people are like spraying underglazes. Like Dale
Right.
is figuring out a way to use them so that he can spray them in the way that he's doing it. Like, you gotta, if you're willing to like, be open with them and back and forth and, give them feedback. I feel like, any company is going to be appreciative of that. Um, and honestly, I've only ever asked for money from them twice for the demos at Enseca.
Yeah.
And that was it. Like, I feel like if anything, I'm putting some good karma out there and I'm building my stack of chips over here so that I can cash them in at some point. But, I think it's, I'm also going to be nervous when I get to that point
Yeah.
and I do have to ask, but we'll get to that point. But I think it's like, yeah, I don't know. It is a partnership, so it's like a back and forth, and you make connections with the different individuals that you work with, whether it's the people that manage the social media accounts, which are often different from the people that are like head of the marketing departments.
Right.
Um, you got to treat them all. You
How do you
know,
approach, like, how would you approach, other than like tagging, like, let's say it's a company that you're not necessarily using yet, but you'd love to, like,
sounds like
um,
Rolo.
like Rolo. So, like, would you approach them on Instagram or would you email them? Like, how do you think
Do you
the
want me to
most
read the email
professional?
I sent to them the first time?
Sure.
Okay,
I've already
so
read it in the last month because Heidi used it. But,
Heidi copy and pasted it. Okay, so this was just a cold email I sent to the contact at Rolo. So it's just their whatever inbox that falls into their lap. So titled "Interest in a Partnership." I always frame it as a partnership. I don't say like collaborate. I mean, you could use collaborating. I feel like partnership is something that like we're in it together kind of thing. So, anyways, interest in a partnership. I say, hey there, I'm a small business owner specializing in making and selling handmade functional ceramics. With 2020 shifting a lot of my business online, I shipped more orders from online purchases than I have in years past by a mile. I was wondering if there was a way to optimize some of my shipping practices, and label printing could be one of those key areas to speed things up in 2021. I currently print all my labels on a laser printer, but the label size and feeding can be tough at times. I was curious if there's an opportunity for us to partner in promotion/trial of your Rolo printer in exchange for social media promotion once I get my bearings with it. I love to share and highlight parts of my process while sharing the products that help me along the way with my followers when there is an area that can help push my business forward for any small business creatives like me who are looking for resources or help. I've included my social media accounts below for your reference and look forward to hearing back from you soon. And I just put links to my Instagram and Facebook. Thanks, Ryan. So that's all I said. Um, yeah, so I kind of set the framework of like, hey, I'm using this a lot. This is very crucial to my online business. This is what I like to share with my followers. If it works out and I'm happy with it and like you're open to it, I'm willing to do a little promotion for it. And then we kind of went from there. So I believe I don't remember if there was like I don't think there was a contract of sorts. But oh no. But they did reach out, and they were open to doing a partnership. So basically, I ended up, I think, doing a couple posts and stories. It wasn't anything hard and fast on paper, I don't think, but
Yeah.
it was basically like, hey, we're gonna send you this, and this is what we would like, and it was pretty open.
Yeah.
So that was, they sent me like basically $200 worth of stuff: the printer, the labels, some stickers that go in the label printer as well. That's a little different,
Yeah.
and then that led to, hey, we've got a new product coming out. It's a new printer that's wireless. Would you be open to this trial period as we're getting feedback? And we also have an app that coincides with it. Would you be open to giving feedback and stuff? So I was game for that for sure. So like you kind of put it out there like what you're willing to give them, and if you give them more than what they expect on the like promotion, and you always tag them when you're sharing it, and they notice it, and they know that you did more than just that little like, okay, we're done, and I've done all I need here, and I'm just gonna keep coasting on using their products and never tag them again. Like if you keep doing it, they're gonna come back to you and know that like
Right.
you're gonna look out for them and you know promote their products well, and then you'll give, I'm always open to giving them feedback. So like, I was having some issues with certain things with like the app for the new Rolo app. So they were, they had it in like a beta phase, and you give them feedback as you're using it. So a lot of them, it just snowballed like that, and you just become somebody that's like really reliable to follow through on like whatever you promise.
So, like, so, like, something that I've been kind of thinking about recently is that I'd love to. This also kind of seems like sacrilege because of who it is, but, but like, my
Gosh.
I know, my primary gas card that I use is from BP, and Amoco.
Your primary what? Gas card?
Gas card, like my gas credit card is BP.
You have a gas credit card?
Yeah.
What's the benefit of a BP gas credit card?
I get 15 cents off a gallon.
Oh, at every BP?
Yeah. And in the
Wow.
first 60 days, I got 50 cents off a gallon.
Okay. Well, they're usually overpriced by about 15 cents, so I guess it all evens
Not
out.
everywhere.
Okay.
Not on the highways. On the freeways, they're pretty comparable.
Okay. So you
And-
stop at the one by the house, because I feel like the one right by my house is always overpriced by like at least 10 cents. But
Oh, no, I don't. But even if I save the money, I'm still paying the same as everybody else. But then I also get rewards on top of that.
Mhm.
Also get money back. But, so I was like, man, and on top of using the card, I've only exclusively used BP gas for the last, I don't know, 4 months. And my gas mileage has increased. And yeah,
Really?
yeah. I'm getting like 1 to 2 miles per gallon more than I was.
And you're not driving any different?
I was averaging like 14 to 16 with just random gas, and now I'm averaging.
Well, I mean, when you don't stop at stop signs, I mean, you're gonna save
I know.
gas.
I know. I'm a very efficient being. But now I'm averaging like 16 to 17. 16 to 18. I'm at like 17.4 right now. And so I really would love to like reach out to them, and I'd love to do a sponsorship with them because I travel for a living. And
Yeah.
and so I'm like, I'm like looking at their website. I'm like, who do I fucking contact? Because
Do they have a social media page?
they do, but I already reached out to their social media and they didn't respond to me. And I feel like an email would be more ideal.
That'd be more formal. Yeah.
Yeah. But then like how would you form an email like that? Like if you were me, what would you say? Just like quick, like off the cuff.
Hi, my name's Becca. I live in my van. I recently got your BP credit card and have been enjoying the rewards of saving 15 cents off a gallon I enjoyed the 50 cents off a gallon. I used it quite a bit as I've been traveling the last X number of months. I'm sad that the 50 cents is down to 15 cents a gallon now, but I'm still loving getting use out of it. I don't know. And then you're like, I can't prove this, but I feel like I'm getting better gas mileage. Since getting BP gas exclusively the last 6 months, or whatever, I was wondering, as someone that's constantly on the road, is there a way that we can partner? And I don't know, I don't know the right call to action here. If we can partner in some way, maybe just leave it at that. I was wondering if we can partner in some way.
Yeah.
Happy travels, or like something like that.
Happy killing the world.
No.
Happy spilling oil all over the United States.
Happy oil spill. Don't end it that way.
If I did, though, I might get somebody to laugh at me. Happy oil spills.
Oh my god. I mean, I mean, for you, I feel like the obvious would be to go after some of these companies that would help you build out your van.
Yeah.
Because you're getting to that point where you're going to have to put some investment in there, and the partnerships would put a nice buffer for you there.
Yeah.
Probably save you some funds, and also somebody that has got some of these kind of deals, and maybe there's some assistance that they can provide.
Right.
To give you a little insight into like how to frame those or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, for a lot of these companies, the thing they're going to do is they're going to go right to your social media. Like, where are you going to be sharing this stuff?
Yeah.
And I don't know what kind of people they look for that they would like to help their product. I mean, some of it is like, what is this one person going to do to help get us more business?
Right.
Why would they put value in giving you support to help support them? Like, kind of like, what leverage do you have in that situation? But right. I feel like leading with being kind and happy with what they provide or their product, that's gonna, I want to say that's like the win friends and influence people. That's like making people feel good about themselves, and like you're building them up.
Right.
So that they're in a good mood. Like, if you come at it from I want a partner, we would be great together, and you don't really give them a value proposition of why they should care.
Correct.
Then, like, why would they be doing you a favor? Like, why should they do you a favor? Especially being as massive a company as BP.
Yeah, it's huge. Yep.
Or like what about like Dodge or something? Have you reached out to Dodge?
Ram?
Yeah.
I haven't.
I don't know. I mean, some of these are long shots, obviously, but like maybe there's, I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
Or I don't know, the obviously you got like the brand of the fridge you've already got. You got you've had some issues with those, but you can, I don't know. Some of this is like, okay, I've already got this thing. Why even get in contact with them to partner when I've already got the product? Like, I'm never going to need another product from them because I'm already set. But it could open you up to something else, like when they upgrade and they offer you a better version of it, or you go down the road and maybe they have a new power bank that they created. Like, maybe they specialize in fridges, but maybe they got this new power bank that's like condensed and small, and they're like, you know what, this is great for, I don't know, having something cold while you hike for overnight or something. I don't know. And I don't know. They got some new product that they're willing to like collaborate with you on and get some feedback. Like they know that you've tested this product and worked a lot with this product on the road, and you know you're somebody valuable that can give them honest feedback.
Yeah.
Versus somebody that's not really going to put this thing to the test. Just like a lot of us working artists with some of these products.
Yeah. I would want to reach out to, like, if I'm going to reach out to, like, BP or whatever, I want a fucking contract deal with, like, money. You know?
Okay.
I mean, gas money would be fine. Like.
They gave you a gas card?
Oh, fuck yeah. Free gas for life.
For life?
Yes, that's what I want. I'm kidding.
Maybe lower your standards of what you expect out of this deal.
No. But yeah. Well, okay, so what is expected of you? What's expected of the customer? Well, you as the artist.
Typically it's use the product and, you know, tag us and feature us in something. So typically I want to say it's a post and 3 stories. I feel like that's a good baseline of what they expect.
Yeah.
I don't know if that standard has changed over time. I feel like none of these companies I only tag like once. I'm not like a one and done. Like I tag them every time I'm using their thing. And yeah, sometimes I will go out of my way a little bit to like maybe photograph a certain thing and tag them. But it's not like it's while I'm in the flow of doing what I'm already doing, and I just happen to, you know, take a photo of a shelf filled with bats. Or, hey, I'm doing a holiday update, and I'm showing myself, like, printing off a bunch of stuff off the Rolo, and I tag them. Like, it's showing people, hey, this is what you can do, and you did it right from your phone. And yeah, some of it's like, ooh and ah, wow factor kind of thing for promotion, but it's also, it's not that far-fetched because I'm not faking it. Like, I'm not doing this just for the fact of advertising it. You know, I think the more that you can tag them and do it in like a natural setting without, you know, staging it, the better. Mm-hmm. At least that's from my perspective. Like, I think it comes across more authentic that way than to build like a whole scene or whatever.
Yeah.
Or actually showing it in practice. So I don't think you have to, you know, fake it. Do what's within your comfort zone of what you would normally do. Like, I'm very into the, you know, demoing or showing somebody and talking through a process. So maybe I'm doing an Instagram live for Speedball and I'm throwing a whole bunch of spoon rests and I'm just talking about what I'm doing. You know, the sizes I like to use, or I'm showing like popping the spoon rests off, and it's not like I've never said this about the way that I use this bat. Like, it becomes repetitive a little bit, but it's just like, hey, this is what I like about this.
Right.
And you're going to get some new people that stumble upon and see like, oh, okay, like I see that. Like, I can see myself needing that. You know, the bats that have a little flexibility, or it's really efficient to take them on and off the wheel, which seems like a nice to have thing. Otherwise you just like put a tool in there and like take it off. But you know, some of these little features actually make a difference.
Right.
And they add up and they're like, okay, you just become accustomed to like, okay, this is like a nice thing that actually sets this apart from the others in this space. So do you remember how L&L found us?
He listened to one of our podcasts. Right?
Yeah, so I want to say
Kilns episode?
Yes. I want to say it was that one where we were talking about buying and selling kilns. Mm-hmm. and I don't know how he initially found it. I don't know if he was just searching for L&L kilns or
Yeah, or somebody he knew sent it to him or whatever.
yeah, I don't know. But I guess it was just what we talked about, and we were, I don't know, we were relatable, or and he reached out to us and was like, "Hey, I listened to your all's episode about this. I was wondering if you all ever do any kind of partnerships or sponsorships, or if you're looking for any sponsors for the podcast."
Yeah.
I want to say that's how it came about.
And we were like, funny how you ask. We are a hot mess and haven't figured it out yet.
But we were like thinking about it.
But we were thinking about it.
But we
sure.
didn't have anything formal.
Yeah.
Like on paper. So you have to go into those figuring out stage. And also you're a little bit like imposter syndrome of like, what do I have to offer them? What's my value? I don't want to scare them off. And you're kind of playing around with, oh, what do I even say here? Like,
yeah.
And you don't want, like, we're not like faking numbers or anything on that. You just figure out a way to get it together in a nice digestible fashion so that you can share the information. They can understand what they need on their side to, like, whether they need to share it with higher ups or share it with their marketing people or make the decision of like, is this going to be worth it for us or not? Like, what are we giving up? What is the what's the cost? Or who are we associating with, and what how are they going to talk about our product? And they have all the tools they have to make that decision. And it's going to help us the next time we talk with somebody about a sponsorship, So a lot of it just builds on itself of each of these companies you talk with, and you get crickets from them, but like Becca sent some things to different people. Like maybe it wasn't enough to draw their attention, or maybe they did see it, they just didn't respond, and that marketing person that saw it, maybe they're in some room or some, I don't know, they know somebody that there's rumblings or somebody talking about, hey, maybe have you ever thought about like social media marketing or like content, anybody that's wanting to work with us or something, and maybe they remember your name or you come across again in a contact form in an email or something, and they're like, oh, I remember that person, like they reached out to us through email or I don't know, or through social media. So some of it is just consistency and like being a little persistent. But like knowing when to walk away too, because there's some companies that like, you're going upstream. Like an example I was talking with somebody about was like clay companies. Clay companies don't need, like in my opinion, clay companies don't generally need like individual artists. They're not going to help sell like a lot of their clay is going to like schools and big studios. Like they're big buyers. Like an individual artist is probably not going to have that sway for like a clay company, in my opinion. Like sure, people ask what kind of clay you use, but like maybe if you're a school or a big community studio that is going to be using tons and tons of clay, like maybe you have a little more sway with them. But I feel like an individual artist, you may not be able to make that jump as easily. I was mostly thinking about that with like Mudworks because, I use their stuff. I tag them all the time. But, thinking about it logically, their money is coming from the places that are distributors and stuff like that. They're buying pallets and pallets of clay and then they're reselling it. So like, that's probably what most of their business is. It's not individual artists coming in and buying directly from them saying, hey, I want to get 500 pounds of clay or 1,000 pounds of clay, So, if there's some companies that aren't as open to it, and if you don't see them like doing that a bunch, then maybe like, okay, maybe we'll save them for later. Like maybe I'll reach out to them later. Or maybe you do cold call them or cold email them and see like what happens, but don't feel like let down if they don't respond or they're not really into it. Because you got to kind of go through like incentives for them as well as, you know, how much value can I really provide for them that they're not already like able to do for themselves or the business that they already have. You know, some of these, like, I don't know, some companies have been using the same standard clay for years and years and years, and they're never going to change or whatever, or they always distribute this clay. So, like, you know, that was just an example of when I might be a little bit like, maybe I'll pass on that one. But
yeah, for sure. Do you have anything to wrap up this lovely time that we've had together with?
I don't think so. One more that I wanted to mention. You can also get ones that aren't even associated with clay at all. I think we mentioned this with BP,
Yeah.
but I reached out randomly to like Bigelow because I had their tea for the longest time, and I just like tagged them, and then I reached out to them in DMs on Instagram and was just like, "Hey, I would love to partner with you all. Is there any way that like we can do something together?"
Yeah.
And then I think I offered the idea of, hey, I'm doing a lot of online orders. Every online order, I like to put a bag of your tea in with every mug I ship out.
Yeah.
Is there any way that I can get some samples that I can send out? And that's how it started. So now I get tea. I get like 200 bags of tea from them twice a year or something like that, or once a year. And they just send me tea, and I put it in my boxes and ship them out with my mugs. So like,
yeah,
it doesn't have to be anything complicated. Like I'm not, you know, I don't know how much more business I've brought them by doing that, but it's also just like a nice thing for customers to get some tea that maybe they can try without having to buy a box of tea or whatever.
For sure.
And yeah, it doesn't have to be fancy. And then my favorite one was recently I got a so I've been on the hunt for this bottle of rum.
Oh yes.
From 18th Street Distillery. So we went to that tiki event in Indianapolis a few weeks ago, and they had a guest bar there, and their bar is actually up near Chicago in Indiana, but they don't sell all of their rum throughout the state. So I was trying to find this aged rum, and I couldn't find it, and I'm still trying to get the white rum in one of the stores. And I reached out to them through DMs on Instagram and was like, hey, I'm trying to find this barrel-aged rum. Like, do you all sell this anywhere in the state that is not your location? And they replied back and they said, we actually don't. We only sell it in our distillery. But if you're open to it, I love your mugs. I would love to trade. So I traded a mug, sent Drew a mug, and then he sent me a bottle of the rum, which is pretty sweet.
That's a straight trade right there. That's a good freaking trade.
So that was awesome. I didn't even expect it. We were looking for this for probably like 3 or 4 weeks, and I was like, I think this is a limited batch. Like, I don't think they actually have this everywhere. And he replied back, so pretty sweet. I got like a $45 bottle of rum for a mug. It was like straight even trade. Totally worth it.
Love it.
Love it, love it.
Love it, love it.
All right.
Sweet.
Yeah. I don't know if we have anything else. 2 hours and 13 minutes. Wow. You got 45 minutes of us. You're welcome.
You're welcome. Alrighty.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening.
Happy
reaching out for partnerships, and good luck.
Yeah. Good luck. All right. Bye.
All right. Bye. Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening to another episode of Wheel Talk. This podcast is made possible through the contributions of all of our listeners who always ask us great questions, leave us reviews, and contact with us through social media. Thanks to all the fellow makers as well who take time to be interviewed and share about their lives and businesses.
And thank you to Ashley from Boldover Ceramics and Lindy from Lindy Garner Ceramics for their assistance on the Whale Talk Podcast Instagram. You are invaluable. Thank you to everybody.